Hello, and welcome to AI powered marketing for financial advisors, unlocking your practice's potential. I am here with Sean Bailey, editor in chief at Horse's Mouth, and the leader of the upcoming program AI Marketing for Advisors, which is running January 9th through February 6th. Today, we're going to be talking about using AI for content creation, things like newsletters, blogs, and beyond. So, Sean, maybe we can start. What's some of the biggest misconceptions you think that are out there that advisors have when it comes to creating content with AI?
Yeah, and I'm glad we're starting off with misconceptions because if there's one thing that I would like people to take away from our little live stream today is that there's a lot of things being said, a lot of doomsaying, or oh, it's not ready, or what, or it's not good enough, and it's simply not true. And so when you ask this question, what are some misconceptions about content writing? Um, you know, People may say and have experienced that, oh, I tried to get the AI model to do some writing for me, but it sounds kind of generic or robotic, and uh, that may very well be true, particularly if you don't understand how to properly communicate with these AI models. So when you do understand, then there really aren't issues, there really aren't concerns about quality, for instance, right? The quality of writing that people can now get from these AI models when you know what to do. And I'm not saying like what you need to do is like go off and study for 2 years at Stanford University or anything like that. Um, I'm saying that just a small amount of training and experience, hands-on experience with some proper guidance, and you can very quickly begin to see that no, the writing can be very professional, very smooth, very correct. That's one particular thing. The other thing is like people have this notion of that it is incorrect or that it has mistakes in it, and usually when people use an AI model and it has mistakes in it, which is euphemistically referred to as a hallucination. When normally, if you're running into hallucinations, again, you haven't properly understood a few key principles to talk with the AI models so that you avoid that. I can't even remember. I mean, I use these AI models every day, all the time, and I can't really remember the last time I looked at something and it was like, just absolutely blatantly, like I can tell it was wrong. Um, and so, what people need to learn to do when it comes to creating content with AI is you need to understand how to personalize it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But there are some very easy things that you can do that can put you in the position uh, to uh, have very well done drafts. And of course, I'll say this over and over again here, and we'll be talking more about that too. But we're talking about using the AI as an assistant or as a partner as you try and get things done. So, those are a couple of misconceptions. I suppose the other misconceptions might be that, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Uh, uh, Compliance isn't going to be okay with this. And we'll talk a little bit more about the compliance thing later on as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, switching gears to one of the biggest advantages or the benefits of using AI tools for content creation, the time savings, right? So, how much time do you think, on average, an advisor spends, creating content the traditional way versus if they're implementing these AI tools and these AI assisted workflows?
Yes. So, I mean, here's the thing. It's about an 80% time savings. Okay. Let me just say that right off the bat. And of course,
Yeah.
what's really even more important and jaw dropping at some level is that a lot of advisors don't do marketing. They don't do very much marketing because it is too burdensome for them. They've got a base of clients. They work from referrals. They try and do a little bit of marketing. They know they could do better if they had more marketing, um, And so this totally changes everything now, because the things that you thought were going to take 2 or 3 hours on a regular basis, like, say, for instance, doing a client newsletter, right? Suppose you do a quarterly or monthly newsletter for your clients, and you like for it to be, custom curated by you, which I think is a good idea. That could take 2 to 3 hours of someone's time. Uh, and because that's the case, some good advisors spend the 2 to 3 hours because they do know how valuable it is to have a sort of custom newsletter for their clients, right? But a huge number of other advisors don't do that, because the 2 to 3 hours just seems too overwhelming. So in both cases, whether you have somebody who's doing it or somebody who's not doing it, now a 2 hour chunk of time to create your monthly newsletter for your clients can be done in 20 to 25 minutes. You can get a highly refined draft in that short period of time. So that is an amazing return on investment, right? Um, and one of the things that these artificial intelligence models do for advisors or anybody who chooses to work for them is they um, they boost your IQ, right? They really do boost your IQ. And there's been a variety of tests in terms of how smart these AI models are, relating to IQ tests. But irrespective of that, I like to use the phrase action quotient instead of intelligence quotients, right? Because the return on investment is these tools now let you do things that you know you need to do or want to do, but have been held back from doing because they simply take too much time. They take too much time, or they take a lot of time, and they also take a lot of brain cycles. It is literally, you know, if you work on a 2 hour time block to create a newsletter for your clients, at the end of the 2 hours, I'm not saying you're wiped out or anything, but you've expended a good deal of brain power during that two hour period. Now you can use that same brain power, but only for 20 or 25 minutes while you're having a robust back and forth conversation with one of these AI models, getting it to do things for you, but also getting it to, challenge you. And we'll talk a little bit more about how people do that as well. But the point being that they're not just they're do machines, right? But they also can be much more than that as well. They're both, and so your action quotient is dramatically boosted when you learn how to use these AI models in your daily workflow.
Yeah, and in addition to saving you time, it could also be saving you money because if you're choosing to outsource some of those activities, well, now you're paying maybe a premium fee for use of one of these tools or something instead, which is
Yeah,
much less money.
right, right, right. And the other aspect of it is quality, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
We're not saying do this and save a bunch of time, but it's producing dreck, right?
Uh,
One of our principles that we borrow from Ethan Mollick at the University of Pennsylvania is that you must be the human in the loop. So this stuff allows you to get all sorts of things done, but in the end, you have to land the plane, so to speak, and that means you take responsibility for what it is you're co-creating with this intelligence before you put it out to the world. And so that's another aspect of it too.
Okay, so next, and this kind of echoes that misconception about the AI, what the AI produces being, generic or robotic. What do you have to say to advisors that are worried that that the AI generated content isn't maintaining their voice, their unique voice and perspective?
Yeah, I mean, there are probably next spring I may do some special sessions on writing with AI, because there are just a variety of uh, very specific and easy to achieve things that you can do with your AI model that will help its writing, its draft writing, sound more like you, reflect your style and your tone. Okay, and so one of the things about that is in ChatGPT, there's something called custom instructions. And many people, they sign up, they sign up for one of these tools and they just start using it. They don't take time or haven't had someone guide them through the process of looking at, oh, this is a very powerful tool, and they have provided some ways for you to configure it And one of those areas is custom instructions. And so if people are using ChatGPT, they should go to the upper right hand corner, click on their initials. It'll throw open a menu, look for custom instructions. You go in there, and there are things you can do. You should spend a little time in the custom instructions area talking about or telling it, how you want it to write. So that at a minimum is something that people can do that I think most people probably haven't or aren't doing, except those who have gone through our training programs, right? We have two training programs. We have the AI powered financial advisor, which is basically kind of an intro to AI in the business place. And now coming up in January, we're going to have the AI marketing for advisors program. And in both of these programs, we spend some time with the advisors in the class to help them take advantage of learning how to customize the models so that their own individual and unique personal style and tone is in fact reflected. One of those things is that people will be doing. Uh, they go through something that we call the horse's mouth writer style code, and it's just um, a variety of online personality tests that people can take. And when you get your personality test, such as like a Myers-Briggs score, right? You can take your Myers-Briggs score and you can load that into the custom instructions, and it's just additional information that you're giving the AI model about how it can and should write in a way that aligns with your own personal style and tone. So that's another aspect of it. And then additionally, an area that many people miss, especially when they're 100% self-taught on the AI, is they miss the importance of being able to attach examples of what you want as an output from the AI model. So, for instance, if you've written articles in the past that you like and you feel like they reflect your writing style, there are ways to attach those to your prompt when you're writing, and you can refer to it in your prompt, and the AI model will know, oh, okay, so as I get ready to generate this draft content based on our back and forth, I should be looking at this or these examples that you've given me to help inform how the style and tone should appear. The output from the AI model should appear on the screen. So that's some other. There's a variety of other ways too, including deciding to invoke the writing styles of well-known writers that you feel a kinship with, and so there's really a wide range of things that can be done with writing and the AI models that are just like vastly beyond this notion of, oh, it's robotic, it's generic, it's fluff, it's not good. It's like, yeah, that people experience that when they simply don't know how to use the AI models. These things are so powerful, and when you engage them with the right knowledge and insight about how to get what you want, they deliver it, and they're always eager to deliver it in a way that is useful for you.
And in addition to creating something new, couldn't you also use it to something that you've written or somebody else on your team has written, and you want to kind of convert it or align it to your firm's, official style?
Yeah, sure,
That's another use
absolutely. Yeah,
case.
if you
Yeah.
have a brand style, you could upload your brand style as well, or you could um, for any sort of thing, any sort of writing project you're creating, not just the writing tone and style, but also the formatting too. It's like, okay, you
Hmm.
want a particular approach with headers and subheaders and bullets, or a certain structure of, subheads that lead into, bulleted content, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you can attach those examples to your prompt, and the AI model, will do a good job of mimicking those styles.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Do you have any specific examples of an advisor who is using AI tools in their content creation process?
Yeah. So, this last summer we put on three different flights of classes, one in July, one in August, and the other in kind of September, October, we had about 35 advisors in each one of these classes. There were like 4-week training classes. This is the AI powered financial advisor program. So one person in our class, I mean, they're all using it and coming back with amazing stories. But one good example for this is a guy named Terry Burke. Terry and his partner have a small investment and financial planning shop. And as Terry says, look, I think I'm a better editor than writer. The blank, he, like so many people, have struggled with the blank sheet in front of them, and as a consequence, tend to not write very much. But then when Terry went through the program and he learned, what you can do. One of the things that we teach advisors in the program is how to repurpose content, right? So you put on a webinar. A lot of these guys are, master members with Horse's Mouth. They put on a webinar on a particular topic. And Terry realized as he was going through our class, because we're showing them how to repurpose content, that he thought, oh, okay, so I have my blog and I've not really been ever updating it in any sort of regular way. But now because he's always struggling with I'm better editor than I am writer. And so now he realizes, oh, okay, I can take like 2 or 3 slides from my presentation and I can copy and paste the content, or I can upload them as a PowerPoint deck, whatever you want to do. Upload them to the AI model and then have a quick little interaction with it to draft a 200 or 500 word blog post on the topic from those slides that were extracted from a longer webinar presentation. And this is what Terry's suddenly been doing. And he's now able to populate his blog post on a regular basis. He's got content that he can put into an e-newsletter that he can share with his clients. And he's absolutely off to the races, and is, a portion of his business that kind of existed but wasn't very strong, his communication with his clients around these personal finance issues. Now he's able to, to use AI to co-write these blog posts and start communicating with clients and prospects on a regular basis. And he's doing it by repurposing content that he's already familiar with, because he's presented these webinars or these in-person presentations. So Terry, that's a good example. And the clients, he says, are absolutely responding to it. He can see them clicking through and commenting on it. And so he's really happy. He's suddenly able to do content marketing. All right, content marketing is what we've been talking about for decades now for financial advisors. You position yourself as a financial educator. You are the expert. You want to communicate and teach your clients and prospects about these topics. We've been talking about that for a long time. But for many advisors, that final, the final mile, as they say, for stringing internet lines, at least, that final mile was always very hard to get to the actual thinking, to the actual writing of the content marketing. Now with AI, boom, you're 80% there in a very, very short period of time. And, for people who aren't great writers, when you can see what the AI models can do when you co-write with them, it's actually kind of invigorating. I found they're like very charged up, and then they want to spend, that final 20% of the time, editing it and getting it in shape and getting it out there, and they're seeing clients respond, and that becomes a self-reinforcing, positive experience. And so that would be a good example of how how financial advisors using these AI models for writing.
Yeah, what I like about that too is that you can create the content in the manner which comes natural to you, or you're strongest at, whether that's speaking or writing or like podcasting, and then AI would just help you to repurpose all that content into different avenues that you can get the word out and reach more people. It's uh,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
That's definitely it. Definitely it. Yep.
strong.
Yep.
Okay, well, every time, Sean, we do you conduct a webinar or a class on this topic, compliance is always a concern that gets voiced from somebody. So, how can advisors ensure that their AI generated content stays compliant
Yeah.
with all the regulations?
Right. So, I mean, there's several ways and several angles relating to that. one is that, of course, you are, the content that you create, co-create using these AI models, you're still responsible for it. And so it still needs to meet all of the, whatever your compliance regime is. And so in this particular industry we're in, there are a range of compliance regimes that people operate under, right? Some of them are very strict, and some of them are more self-directed. And so there will be some advisors who may run into some issues, but there'll be plenty of others who I think won't. But nonetheless, all the rules apply, right? No promissory stuff. You're not going, it's like you can't be making wild claims that are unsubstantiated, that are promises you can't fulfill. Um, and and so that is critical. By the way, when you are writing for your website or writing content to share with your clients, you can literally go back to the AI model when you finished with your draft and invoke, um, a compliance expert who is, skilled in, understanding, the do's and don'ts of of client facing material that advisors share. So I mean, you can get the AI model to critique your work. You can finish your draft and say, now, you know act as a compliance expert who understands the ins and outs of the FINRA advertising rules and regulations, and go ahead and critique this writing. Tell me what I should look out for or possibly make changes for. And boom, the AI model will go ahead and do that. You make those changes, and that's good. For many advisors are responsible for their own compliance, and so that is actually a good workflow habit to develop. Right now, others in the industry where they're under these tighter compliance regimes, like when I started in this business in 1999, and for many years after, probably all the way through 2004, 2005, there were a lot of shops where it's like, oh, our advisors cannot have a website, or no, you cannot use content because it's from a website or it's the internet. And at some level, we're experiencing that again, in that, this is all early days. We've just a little more than 2 years ago, OpenAI introduced ChatGPT, which kicked off this generative artificial intelligence era that we're in now. Of course, artificial intelligence has been around since like the late 40s, early 50s, the concept and the underpinnings that have been built, over decades. But it was really some other advances that have happened since 2017 that ultimately by 2022 caused this explosion in generative artificial intelligence. And so I think uh, some companies, some firms are, the compliance departments are going to, take a little time to get their head around this. Ultimately, I think it's going to be fantastic because um, a lot of advisors uh, create content or obtain content from elsewhere, and then they submit it to their compliance departments, and it takes forever to get it back. Right. Well, when the compliance people or the bosses of the compliance people realize, oh, wait a second, you mean we can use artificial intelligence and have it be as smart and as skilled as our best compliance officer, and it can review submissions in a couple of minutes, stuff that used to take hours or days? That's going to change everything too. So the compliance issue, it comes up. Over this last summer, I interviewed an RAA compliance expert, and he was pretty much saying, look, I mean, the advisors who are working with these models create content. You put the content in front of your clients. You're still responsible for it. It's just like it was before. It's not like you're not getting a special dispensation, and you also shouldn't be necessarily getting knocked down simply because it was that that you did some co-working or co-writing with the AI. So this is going to take a little while. It's never, these things are never even. In some portions of the industry, people are moving ahead, it's okay, and others are being held back and on different topics. And so, we'll see how this unfolds going forward. But it's always an issue there. But the key thing is you can engage the AI model to actually keep you compliant in your writing.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
that use case. That's a great idea. Okay, well, let's talk about some more maybe creative ways or some different ways that advisors are using AI for different types of content.
Yeah, well,
What have you seen?
there's one I think that is kind of fun that we teach in both of our programs, and that is that you can like suppose you want so you got a newsletter coming up in January and you want to emphasize a particular plan. I forget what our theme is for the month of January. I should have looked that up before, but well, just suppose that the theme for January was like long-term care, the personal finance piece, right? And long-term care is something that's bedeviled pre-retirees and retirees now for decades. Um, and suppose you want to do a newsletter on that topic because you're going to be making a campaign to your clients to try and get them, off the stick and start doing something about how they're going to plan for and pay for um, how their care is going to be handled the last couple of years of their life. So, what an advisor can do is you can go and you can engage the AI model as a thinking partner. Okay, and you can say, I want to write, a 500, 700 word article about long term care and why people need to, maybe it's like five key steps people need to take for long term care in 2025 to get up to speed. Let's have a conversation. Ask me some questions about this. Interview me like you're an expert in this area, and let's just have a conversation. And you can say to the AI model, "Yeah, ask me one question, one at a time, and ask me a total of 7 questions, and then we'll move on from there." And so, in fact, that's what happens. The model, you invoke a particular role. You tell it, what its tasking is, which is to, interview you. You give it the context, like, okay, why are we doing this? Because I think long-term care is an important topic. I want to write this newsletter on this topic for my clients. So you're giving it the AI model, giving it in the background, and then the format is simply this Q&A, interview. And so you do that back and forth. You're responding. The AI model's asking, it's responding. And then when you go through answering 5 or 7 questions, you have a lot of content that you have just created by responding to the questions the AI model has asked you. Then you can export your answers, put them into a Word doc, um, and and then cut and paste them all and put them back into the AI model. And you can ask the model, okay, let's move on to the next step. I want to outline this article that I'm thinking about writing on long-term care based on our interview and the information, my answers so far. Go ahead and propose a draft outline of the article. And the model will come back and bing, bing, bing. It'll give it a good outline. And the advisor can accept or reject or modify the outline. All right. And so now you've got a very tight outline. And then, from there, you can do all sorts of things. You could write it yourself. You could co-write it. You could ask the AI model to do the whole thing right there on the spot. There's a variety of things you can do once you've got the outline. And of course, you could also go right to a draft. You could skip the outline step and go right to a draft. There's just all sorts of ways because um, the AI models are very, very versatile. But that would be a great way for somebody to start developing some content, some marketing content, um, by engaging the model in that way.
And that to me also shows an evolution in your thinking where you're recognizing that these tools are a co-intelligence, and not just some tool that
Yeah,
carries forward a task. It's actually thinking,
yeah, yeah.
and your
That's the key
partner.
thing. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not chatbots. I saw somebody posted something the other day in one of the groups that I'm in, and it was basically I think it was a big ad from Times Square or something like that. I forget who was advertising it, but it said like, uh, AI is a thinking partner. It's not a chatbot.
Yeah.
Of course,
Right.
it's both. It can be a chatbot, but it can be a thinking partner as well. I mean, I talk a lot about thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But there's a guy, David Pasiak, who's created similar version of the same pyramid, but the bottom of the pyramid for AI is kind of wrote content, wrote information that these AI models can be used, that instead of somebody on your staff constantly having to do it over and over again, you can leverage the AI models to take care of that. So that's the basic level, just like food and shelter and for the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so at the middle tier of this AI pyramid is the creating of content, right? And you can engage in an AI model to to help you create all sorts of things. But at the very top of the pyramid, which in Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualizing, in the top of the pyramid, the AI content or pyramid would be a strategic thinking and brainstorming. And so once you learn how to invoke these AI models and their levels of expertise that align with what it is you want to achieve in your particular conversation, you can go back and forth and really have some, quite revealing encounters with AI. That, I mean, I hear it all the time where people are like, "Wow, the aspects of topics they had been working with for a long time. They had never thought of this angle or that angle, or the AI model was able to suggest something or steer in a particular direction." And yeah, so that's it's very that particular approach is very powerful and useful for sure.
Okay. Well, maybe you could talk a little bit about a good first step for an advisor listening who wants to start experimenting with
Yeah,
using these
sure.
AI tools in their content creation. What's a good first step for them?
Well, yeah. So, well, I think, frankly, a good first step would be for people to see the Doug, I believe you have a link of it that you can
Yep.
share with people. How to talk to AI. This is our basic learn to talk to ChatGPT the right way. And that has to do with the fact that people have made a huge mistake often with dabbling with these AI models by treating it like a search engine. Okay. They're not search engines. You need to understand the manner in which you engage the model, how you ask it to do things. And so the typical Google search query is 2 or 3 words. Okay. 2 or 3 words with an AI model is not going to give you what you need. And so if you take this webinar, I teach in that webinar the most sort of basic way to get going, which is a framework called role task format. And we don't have time to go into all of it, but basically, you need to, in the context of how you prompt, you need to invoke some sort of expertise that you want the model to act as, right? Then you have task, what it is that you want it to create, and then format, how do you want the AI model to, when it does this stuff, and it prints it to the screen so that you can hit copy and go off and use it somewhere, what is the manner and format that you want? So, and so I'd say listen to our webinar, pay attention to the role task format aspect of things, and then try it out on a few things. Like, don't go immediately into some big project. Like maybe you have an email that you need to write to a client or a vendor, and just kind of, instead of sweating bullets on your own, turn to the AI model, have a little conversation, follow the role task format framework, and ask it to help with drafting this email and see what happens. You'll be, quite surprised, I think.
Yeah, the role task format is just golden. It's key to unlocking the power. Like, write it down on a sticky note and stick
Yep.
it up to your monitor so that you remember to use it
Yeah,
next time you're in bed,
until you've internalized it.
or
Yeah.
until you've internalized it.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Ethan Mollick at the University of Pennsylvania says any task that you're about to engage in that takes more than 5 minutes, he thinks you should turn to the AI model and have a conversation about it right from the get-go, instead of going off on it like you normally would do. And then maybe you get stuck at some point, and then you can go to the AI model for help, which you can do it that way too. But Malick's point is, and I agree with him, this our workflows are about to totally change. These AI models are so powerful They're getting more powerful all the time. They're starting to show up in all sorts of applications that people use. They don't even understand, what that means when the AI is embedded in their applications, and they haven't even gotten the training. But as people learn to use these things, it's going to be it's going to totally change people's workflows. And that's I don't want to get people too far ahead, but just get in there, use roll task format, watch the webinar, and practice some, using it for some emails, some small projects, and then you'll be more comfortable, and you'll start to understand why we here at Horse's Mouth are so excited about the fact that advisors really need to bring this framework of using AI on a regular basis throughout the day, frankly, will just save them so much time, boost the quality of their work, give them more time to work more closely with clients on financial planning or investment management, whatever the case may be, or maybe it's additional marketing. There's just so many benefits of it. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay. And of course, we should mention that we are putting on an AI marketing for financial advisors program, right? That's starting January 5th or January
January 9th.
9th.
January 9th.
January 9th.
January 9th.
If you want to find out more about that, go to horsesmouth.com/AI marketing. And also there is a discount, right? There's an early bird discount that's still available, but
Yeah,
not
up
for
to the
long.
24th. But yeah, let me just tell people about the program just a tiny bit. It's a
Yeah.
5-week virtual program, 2 hours per week. Plus, we have an optional kind of office hours once a week for 1 hour. And in these 5 weeks, you're going to right off the bat, we're going to get a draft marketing plan for you for 2025. Always a huge hurdle for advisors is simply having a written strategy. And advisors who have a written strategy on how they want to go forward with their marketing in any given year, if you have a written strategy, you succeed and achieve your goals way more than advisors who don't have a written strategy. This has been shown in surveys year after year. So we're going to get you going. We're going to get the marketing plan, a draft of the marketing plan practically right off the bat. And then over the following 4 sessions, the following 4 weeks, we're going to be introducing you to a variety of AI tactics that you can use to execute your marketing plan throughout the year. And they're all AI powered tactics, of course. And so that's what the class is going to be about. And when you come out of it, you are going to be you're going to be way down the path of really understanding how to use these tools, and you're going to be able to start using it in your marketing right away. And ultimately, probably you'll just need to spend about 4 hours per month on your marketing at a minimum. But this 4 hours that you're going to be doing with AI are actually going to represent like 16 to 20 hours worth of work. And most advisors never get that amount of marketing done on their practices. So by learning how to leverage these tools and use them, tactically throughout the month, you can spend 4 hours and get a lot of good marketing done, and you'll start seeing the benefits, nearly right away.
Yeah. It's really exciting, exciting time. Um,
It
for
is.
sure.
It's
Yep.
amazing all the things that are happening in this space, and we just want to get advisors, um, comfortable with using the tool so that they can take advantage of all these other bigger things that are coming down the pike that are really going to be sort of eye popping when it comes to how people can think about running their businesses successfully in the future by using the AI as a really sort of co-intelligence, really.
Okay, great. Well, Sean, thank you so much. Is there any other thing you want to leave us with today?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a huge opportunity, and uh, I think this is more powerful than when I first saw a Netscape browser in 1995. I practically fell on the ground because the internet had been around. The Defense Department and DARPA got going in the '60s and stuff, but the general public had no access to it. It wasn't easy to use. Then it became this visual thing and a click and point thing because of the Netscape browser. Everything exploded. we're kind of in a similar period right now with these AI models, but even more so, way more so. And so this is, an unbelievable opportunity for people, and really want to encourage really anybody out there who's been dismissive of AI or simply not made the time to figure out how to bring it into their individual workflow. 2025 is the year to get going on it. And, for those in the financial advisor space, we've got the on ramps that you need to get there. So please take advantage of it. And for our marketing program, you can save $200 if you do it by Christmas Eve. So go ahead and take care of that for sure.
Give yourself that for a Christmas present, right? Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Sean, and happy holidays,
Yeah,
everybody.
happy holidays to you. Take care. Thanks.